West Denver.
Well, it's 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, June 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You're waking up in the greatest country in history. We're off and running. Now, everybody knows this show is a right, left, center show. It's Colorado's blue, America's red. It all meets together right here on the program. But talk about a debate.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere.
That was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of building. You got a sense it was building a little bit, but not this publicly. And in many ways, I go, par for the course, because I lived through the Colorado GOP chairman race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We fight publicly all the time. It's like Democrats all go behind scenes, and whoever's the richest wins. That's typically Jared Polis. That's why Timmy Hernandez is no longer in the state house, right?
That's true.
But they quietly took him out back. They didn't do it publicly. Republicans all the time. This is what we do. We fight very publicly on airwaves and all that other stuff. So part of me goes like, well, all right, par for the course. But in this case, you have the world's most powerful man fighting with the world's richest man, all out for everybody to see over this big, beautiful bill. If you're wondering what we're talking about, well, Elon Musk and Donald Trump in a very public Twitter X feud over the big, beautiful bill. And it got very personal, with Elon Musk outright saying that Donald Trump was on Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Yeah. And that's why it hasn't been released.
Yeah, that was, well, it's okay. When I was watching this, it was like, wow, that escalated quickly. That he went right for the jugular. It's weird. And okay, a number of us probably have this person in our lives or have experience with him where the argument goes from like 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye, where you're like, hang on, we were arguing about X, and all of a sudden now I'm responsible for the Nazis? I didn't even know Hitler. Where they all of a sudden go to this huge extreme about, and you hate everyone that does that. Wait, hang on, I thought we were talking about my shoes, not the, yeah. So that's what I saw with Elon, is someone that it was almost rage tweeting at times, where he was just flailing and using whatever means he could to try and inflict as public a blow as possible. And that's very public. But, we should ask the audience if they think Donald Trump's on the list. Do they think? I'd be curious, either through text message or 303-696-1971. Do you think he's on the list? Yeah, and I'll share whether or not I think he's on the list later. Don't want to, spoil that right now.
And what is the list?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. Yes. So, yeah, remember this. What do you think? And I would be curious what people think Jeff and I think about. Yeah, well, do we think that Donald Trump's on the list? What do you think our impression is of this one? Do we ever think we'd see the list? And are they also going to make nice? That's the other part. Is are they going to be able to resume the bromance? Is this just a lover's quarrel, as they say?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And my wife and I were talking about this a lot yesterday. Yeah. We following the news, and part of the conversation was around personality style, because there's a certain personality at stake here.
Yeah.
And if you follow into the Enneagram personality test, okay, there's one out there that's called an Enneagram 8. And the Enneagram 8 is what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are. It is a hard driver. I don't care about your feelings. This is the vision. It is Winston Churchill. It's Saddam Hussein. I mean, it is like they typically become leaders of worlds. And fights are not personal to them in the sense of like they get hurt feelings and go sit in the corner. The way they communicate with people is very direct, and what they want back is direct. So I know this because I'm an Enneagram 8. I have the same type of personality. So people often ask, how do you do this job? It doesn't or how do I go down and interview people?
Yeah.
When they're like yelling curse words in your face. I'm like, it doesn't, it just bounces right off. It doesn't, it doesn't pierce. Now, there's a caveat there. The caveat being betrayal. We're highly sensitive to the idea of being betrayed. So if this fight goes from face-to-face policy to a sense of betrayal, where you feel like, all right, the conversations we've had, or now you're throwing out personal stuff, right? Like Musk was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now I'm pulling the knife out the back. That's a little different, and that's where you start to get a lot of frustration. But there's so many angles to talk about on this, okay? Who's right about the bill?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Is Elon Musk, Donald Trump correct about the bill? Is it... my take on that is this is the fight you have at the beginning of the writing of this bill. And I was frustrated at the beginning of the writing of this bill. There's too much debt in this thing. There's too much pork in this thing. We're not dealing with the big four that we need to: defense spending, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Those are the big things driving our debt. This doesn't go far enough. I was frustrated. I'm kind of in the Rand Paul, Thomas Massey camp, okay? But this thing's already passed the House. We got to get it through the Senate. And if you're going to have these types of fights now that we've moved this train down the track, it seems inappropriate to me. So I get the principled stand, but we're now kind of into the practical world. And I'll say this again. I said it yesterday. We are still paying Nancy Pelosi's budget. My gosh, if we got everything Nancy Pelosi did minus $1 less, I would say vote for it, because I'm just done paying for Nancy Pelosi's budget priorities. So, when you look at the substance of the argument, where do you fall along those lines? Who's right there?
Also, it's kind of weird that just a week ago, it was the Elon celebration party. It was his going away party a week ago today.
Right.
They were in the Oval Office talking about what a wonderful guy he was, and congratulations, Elon. And Trump gave him I know. And Trump gave him his magical key of whatever the hell it is.
He was selling cars on the front lawn of the White House just a few weeks ago.
Elon. Yeah, so
and
this is interesting.
I don't know, maybe I could think of a few friendships where we were so close that the fights got bigger because we were close friends.
Yeah.
Right? And, eventually cooler heads prevail.
Yeah.
And you get back to it. But this is just part of a close friendship. Is that a part of it? Or is this the total collapse of the Musk MAGA alignment?
Could it be the end of Doge, or is it the end of the big beautiful bill? Because that's part of when I talk about who you support, who do we think is going to come out on top. Is this the end of Doge? Will Trump now take out some of his frustrations and feelings on Elon? Does he start canceling some of the government contracts? Yesterday, in a really petulant tantrum, Elon talked about how he was going to pull his support from NASA. I'm like, I'm not sure that's a good idea, considering that's like your only client. I'm not sure that's a good thing, sir. I wouldn't advise against that. That's a bad idea. But he was throwing a temper tantrum. So what else could happen? Could Trump start canceling some of those contracts, canceling some of those subsidies? If they start going after the thing that would be hard to do, but the thing that would cripple Musk would be take away the ability to sell the carbon credits. You do that and Tesla's done. Tesla's done in 2 years, unless something dramatically changes, because that's the only way they're making money right now. So that would be, if he really, really wanted to kneecap Elon, that's where you go. Don't worry about the NASA stuff. That may or may not pan out. But if you want to kneecap him, because the majority of his wealth is tied up into Tesla valuation. So if you really wanted to kneecap him, if you want to do this as the mob and you want to cut him off, yeah, that's what you do. Is you take away his carbon credits. Can't sell those. Tesla's gone. Tesla all of a sudden becomes a non-profitable company that is overvaluated. Yeah.
We're getting lots of text messages here. Here's another angle, that was discussed in light of the Elon Musk, Donald Trump feud. Is this all planned?
Oh, so we're looking at this as a work.
Is this a 4D chess movement to get you media folks focused on something else?
Here's the thing is, I could see a thing of that, the idea of the wag the dog, or the idea inside of professional wrestling that it's a work. There are two things in wrestling, a work or a shoot. Shoot coming from the old shoot fights that came out of Japan, where you had people actually going at it, was the early version of the UFC, where it was really, so that's where the term comes from. Is it a work or is it a shoot? Work being that we're doing business. We're getting in the ring, we're doing business, and we're going to get to the end together because we all know how we make money because we're going to tell this story. So is this a work or is this a shoot? I go the side of this as being a shoot rather than a work, only